From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Bimbo Oloide.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, protests in Lagos as residents demand prosecution of policeman over the killing of a commercial motorcyclist. Season of industrial action in Nigeria. Joint Health Sector Union commences nationwide strike. Allied health workers suspend action. All Progressives Congress present manifesto. Promises to end insurgency in the north. And Syrian Opposition Alliance accuses government forces of using chemical weapons to kill hundreds of people near the nation's capital, Damascus.
On business news tonight, the bears continue to dominate trade at the local bears as the all-share index heads further south.
And sports news is a good start for the Tigers at the FIBA 2013 African Championship as they defeat Mali by 74 points to 59.
We begin with angry commercial motorcycle operators in Ikorodu area of Lagos who have vowed to remain on the streets to protest the killing of their friend and colleague until the suspected killer is arrested and prosecuted. The suspected trigger-happy police officer, popularly known as Jagaba, was said to have been involved in a heated argument with a bike rider on Tuesday afternoon and subsequently shot him. Our correspondent, Loretta Chiogo, reports.
Not the best of times in Ikorodu. The only surviving son and father of 3 young children has been gunned down, allegedly by a policeman. His colleagues have taken to the streets to demand an explanation for his death. They also want an immediate arrest and prosecution of the killer police.
What happened yesterday is they said we should not run on an express, and there is no express in Ikorodu except roundabout to Ketu, but we are avoiding them because they have power. So yesterday what happened to my friend Ifa, it was at Ladega Junction. Before the RRS went there, hold the bike, he said here is not an express, please leave my bike for me. They push him. Immediately they push him, he said what is the problem? They now shoot, they shot him. They shot his second person, the gun was not entering. They now shot the guy, 4 bullets. They shot him on his neck and the chest.
The man who shot that person yesterday is Aruna. They should provide Aruna. It's the case file. Up to now, we have not seen Aruna. If Aruna run, it means Nigeria, we are not safe.
Even as they seek justice, yet another potentially volatile atmosphere presents itself when the police showed up. An atmosphere that is doused by one of the policemen. The protesters, however, moved to the hospital where the corpse was deposited on Tuesday.
The atmosphere here is very tense as friends and family members and also sympathizers are waiting for the corpse of Olalekan to be brought out.
Just like that. Olalekan's wife and her 6-year-old daughter. There was no amount of comforting words at this time that soothed her pains. Her worries, how to take care of the 3 children she's left with. As at the time of this report, the corpse is yet to be released as an insider told Channels Television that the police have asked the family members to hold on the burial till proper investigations and post-mortem are carried out. Loretta Chiogo, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Umar Manko, has appealed to residents of Ikorodu to go about their lawful businesses and allow the police authority investigate the issue that led to the killing of the bike rider in the area. Addressing journalists after the State Security Council meeting with the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, at the State Secretariat, Alausa, Mr. Manko said everything will be done to deal with the matter. He, however, reminded the motorbike riders that the law banning them from plying illegal routes is still in force.
We appeal to the motorcyclists to allow the law to take its course. They shouldn't take laws into their hands. The residents of Ikorodu should go about their lawful businesses, and there is a law. I want to emphasize there is a law on restriction of motorcyclists in Lagos State, and that law is going to be enforced by the police and other security agencies.
I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Mr. Ikechukwu Ikeji, a legal practitioner. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is just one more incident involving the police and civilians, which has ended up in the loss of life. Why does this keep happening?
I think it's a failure of regulation and impunity. You see, the way the police handle civilians in Nigeria just smells of impunity, because there's hardly punishment for any of their irregular actions. For example, police brutality continues and nobody reacts. Police extrajudicial killings continue and nobody reacts. And the same police, look at what the Commissioner of Police just said here now. Instead of being remorseful as to what has happened, he is coming out to remind us again that the traffic law is still in force, without bearing reference whatsoever to the death of an innocent Okada rider. So I think it's a failure of regulation and poverty, paucity of external supervision of the Nigerian police. The only body that is given that power to supervise the Nigerian police externally is the Police Service Commission, and they are not doing their jobs properly, and that goes down into what you see transpiring presently with the abundant revelations of extrajudicial killings, extrajudicial intimidation, and arrant abuse of the rights of Nigerians under Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
But internally, within the police force, there have been a lot of training sessions that have gone on, especially in recent times, and specifically regarding the use of arms. So does this mean that the training is not effective, or is it defective? What is it?
We have been having trainings for donkey years as far as we know in Nigerian police force. There has never been a time you won't hear that the Nigerian police is undergoing one form of training or the other. Even when we see people being killed in around disregard to human life, you still hear them talk about training, that they are training themselves. There's no effect whatsoever of this training on the performance of Nigerian police. There's absolutely no effect. What you see happening is just a normal procedure of superiority complex, if you permit that phrase, of security personnel. Once they wear that uniform of security, they feel superior to fellow human beings, and instead of helping fellow human beings, they would assume the role of superior power. If you go to the United States, for example, a policeman will SIR you, S-I-R, will SIR you to jail. It will, humility and respect, ensure that the law and order is effectively carried out. But in Nigerian police, they first of all, they come from the premise, from the position of superiority to fellow citizens. Now,
the government is actually aware about these extrajudicial killings. And as a matter of fact, in April this year, the special prosecutor of the International Criminal Court came to Nigeria to investigate these accusations. Now, what other steps can be taken to ensure that these killings don't recur and impunity is contained?
First of all, we have to start with the leadership, with the government. There has to be political will on the part of government to correct themselves, so that when they are talking, when they want to instill discipline in the police themselves will bear reference to the fact that the executive has corrected itself, and it will be very difficult for them to disobey the executive. But where you don't have a moral high platform, the moral grounds to correct me, you cannot correct me. Yes, there has been series of killings. For example, the Apple 6 is still hanging on our head. We had because even not only the police, the military also are guilty of extrajudicial killing. We have the Baga killings, about 200 civilians. Up till today, the OD killings have had the courts give judgment in favor of the OD people, and nothing has been done by the federal government. In the same vein, in somewhere in the Middle Belt, there were also killings, and the court gave judgment in favor of the citizens, and nothing has been done. So the political will is lacking on the part of the government. There's another body, Nigerian Human Rights Commission, which is also empowered under the National Human Rights Commission Act to investigate some of these human rights abuses. But these people are living under the influence of the federal government, and it is very difficult for them to extricate themselves from the overwhelming influence of the federal government so as to be objective in tackling some of these human rights abuses, especially when you know that they are being paid. So the way forward is for there to be an independent commission made up of civil society groups, especially having lawyers as its nucleus, very independent of the government, to undertake investigations and profile ways of prosecution of any extrajudicial killing or even brutality, police brutality. This is one of the way forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate your coming on the news at 10.
My pleasure.
I've been speaking with Mr. Ikechukwu Ikeji, a legal practitioner, about extrajudicial killings in Nigeria. In part 2, after the break, students and parents plead for an end to industrial action by public university lecturers. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.